The situation presented involves a 480 volts automatic transfer switch or ATS, situated with the side of a 1600 amps, 480 volts main distribution panel or NDP behind the ATS. To address the clearance requirements and measurement, firstly, it is correct to classify the scenario as Condition 2 as defined in the National Electrical Code NEC Table 110.26 AON. Condition 2 necessitates a minimum clearance of 3.5 feet in front of live electrical equipment that is subject to examination, adjustment, servicing, or maintenance while energized. Secondly, according to the last sentence of NEC Section 110.26 AON, the 3.5 feet clearance is measured from the front of the enclosure of the ATS, not from the circuit breakers or busing located inside the ATS. This interpretation is accurate because the code specifies that the workspace extends from the accessible surface of the equipment. It is important to consider the breadth of the workspace in addition to its depth. NEC Section 110.26 AON states, where the conditions are as described in 1 or 2 of this section, the workspace shall be the width of the equipment and any panel required for servicing the equipment. This implies the workspace extends laterally to encompass the equipment's width and includes any additional panel necessary for servicing. It is imperative to consider that the 3.5 feet clearance should be maintained for all exposed live parts of the ATS, including circuit breakers and busing. If the ATS is located in a confined space, extra clearance might be needed for access and egress. Ensuring safe working conditions also mandates the use of appropriate personal protective equipment or PPE when working on or near energized equipment. It is imperative to note that while the code specifies minimum clearances, there may be situations that necessitate additional space to ensure worker safety and efficient operation. This could include the presence of obstacles, the complexity of the work to be performed, or the need for multiple personnel to work on the equipment simultaneously. Always refer to any local codes or regulations, as they may have more stringent requirements than the NEC. Proper planning, adherence to safety protocols, and the use of appropriate tools are essential for working safely on or near electrical equipment. Regular training and adherence to established safety procedures can significantly reduce the risk of accidents. The intent of the clearance requirements outlined in NEC Section 110.26 AON is to provide a safe working environment for qualified electrical personnel. By adhering to these requirements, the risk of electrical shock, arc flash, and other hazards can be minimized. Following is a more detailed explanation of the key elements of NEC Section 110.26 AON Condition 2. Firstly, Condition 2 applies when the energized parts are operating at 50 volts or more to ground and are located on one side of the workspace, and the opposite side is grounded. Secondly, the grounded condition can be concrete, brick, or other grounded surfaces. Thirdly, this condition commonly exists in electrical rooms where equipment is mounted against a wall. Next is measurement of working space. The depth of the working space is measured from the front of the enclosure or opening where the electrical parts are exposed. The width of the working space is the width of the equipment, but never less than 30 inches. The height of the working space is 6.5 feet, or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. Besides clearance and workspace, proper illumination is essential for a safe working environment. NEC Section 110.26d requires sufficient illumination to permit safe and effective work. The level of illumination should be appropriate for the tasks being performed and the complexity of the equipment. Furthermore, access and egress are crucial considerations. NEC Section 110.26c requires that the working space shall have one entrance of sufficient area to give access to an egress from the working space. For equipment rated 1200 amps or more and over 6 feet wide, there shall be an entrance at each end of the working space. Remember that the door must be able to open at least 90 degrees. There are exceptions to the two-entrance rule, but they involve specific conditions such as unobstructed egress or dedicated fire detection systems. Proper maintenance is critical for maintaining electrical safety. Regular inspections and maintenance can identify potential problems before they become hazards. Maintenance should include tightening connections, inspecting insulation, and testing protective devices. Remember, de-energizing equipment is always the safest option when performing maintenance or repairs. When working on or near energized equipment is unavoidable, always follow safe work practices and use appropriate PPE. Consider the impact of arc flash hazards. An arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can cause severe burns, blindness, and even death. An arc flash hazard analysis should be performed to determine the level of PPE required for specific tasks. PPE includes flame-resistant clothing, gloves, and face shields. Always follow established safety procedures when working on or near energized equipment. These procedures should include a job briefing, lockout/tagout procedures, and the use of appropriate PPE. Do not take shortcuts or bypass safety procedures. Be aware of the potential for human error. Human error is a leading cause of electrical accidents. Be alert and focused when working on or near electrical equipment. If you are tired or distracted, take a break. Lastly, continuously improve your knowledge and skills. Stay up to date on the latest electrical codes and safety practices. Attend training courses and workshops to enhance your knowledge and skills. Seek guidance from experienced electrical workers. Always prioritize safety when working on or near electrical equipment. Your life and the lives of others depend on it. There are several specific scenarios where these rules directly apply. For example, when working on a motor control center or MCC, the 3.5 feet clearance is essential for accessing and maintaining the individual motor starters and controls within the MCC. Similarly, when working on switchboards and panel boards, especially in commercial or industrial settings, ensuring the required clearance allows for safe operation and maintenance of the circuit breakers and other components. Also, in data centers where uninterruptible power supplies or UPS systems are used, the clearance around the UPS is critical for battery replacement, module servicing, and general maintenance. Another common situation involves working on generators where the clearance ensures that technicians can safely access the generator's control panel, circuit breakers, and other components for maintenance and repairs. These examples highlight the practical importance of understanding and adhering to the clearance requirements outlined in the NEC. The failure to maintain these clearances can lead to hazardous working conditions and increased risk of electrical accidents. Therefore, it is essential for electrical workers to be thoroughly familiar with these requirements and to apply them consistently in their daily work. Always refer to the latest edition of the NEC for the most up-to-date information and requirements. Electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving to address new technologies and emerging safety concerns. Staying current with these changes is essential for maintaining a safe working environment. In addition to the NEC, there may be other applicable standards and regulations, such as those issued by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration or OSHA. Be sure to comply with all applicable requirements. Remember that safety is everyone's responsibility. By working together and following established safety procedures, we can create a safer working environment for all. In conclusion, the interpretation of NEC Section 110.26a on regarding Condition 2 clearance for the ATS is accurate. The 3.5 feet clearance should be measured from the front of the enclosure, and all relevant safety measures should be observed. Proper planning, adherence to safety protocols, and continuous learning are vital for ensuring a safe working environment. Electrical safety is not just a set of rules. It is a culture that must be cultivated and maintained at all times. Every electrical worker has a responsibility to prioritize safety and to speak up if they see something that is unsafe. By working together, we can prevent electrical accidents and create a safer working environment for all. And finally, it is worth reiterating that the NEC represents minimum standards. Depending on the specific circumstances of the installation, it may be necessary to exceed these minimum requirements to ensure a safe and efficient operation. Always exercise good judgment and consult with qualified electrical professionals when in doubt. When evaluating the specific installation, consider factors such as the potential for future expansion or modifications, the complexity of the equipment, and the skill level of the personnel who will be working on the equipment. Addressing these factors proactively can help to ensure that the electrical system is safe, reliable, and easy to maintain. And that you are correct in that the distance of 3.5 feet should be measured from the front of the enclosure for the ATS, and that the last sentence of 110.26a states where the conditions are as described in 1 or 2 of this section. The workspace shall be the width of the equipment and any panel required for servicing the equipment, and that this means that the clearance is measured from the accessible surface of the equipment, not from the interior components.